Hello everybody, this is Adigeko coming to you with more The Elder Scrolls Legends. Today is a great day, my friends, because we have a new expansion and we are going to be reviewing the cards on this new expansion named Forgotten Heroes. And this video, or videos rather, will be consisting of two parts, one part for the colored attributes and one part for the neutral attribute, because neutral attribute has 7 cards and the rest of it has 5 cards in the grand total of 12 cards in this expansion. And there are some interesting interactions between the cards in the neutral section. We will see that when we come there. Let's just, for now, start out with our strength card, Cradle Crush Giant. It's a 6 cost, 6/4, with the summon ability to deal 2 damage to all other creatures in the lane that it is played. This is basically a firestorm that also leaves a 6/4 body on board. You are paying 4 for a firestorm normally, but by paying 2 extra more you can also get a Cradle Crush Giant. Now this card is effective in a way that it actually leaves you something to play with on the board, unlike the firestorm, and it has okay stats considering its cost. Therefore, with this strong attack stat, you can still be aggressive with this card, and with its ability to clear lanes, you can be defensive with this card. So you can play this in an aggro deck and play this card against aggro decks, and between the matches against 2 aggro decks in which you are an aggro and your opponent is an aggro and you are racing, right? Imagine a situation like that. You are on the field lane or you're on the shadow lane and your opponent is in the opposite lane, and you draw Cradle Crush Giant. When you play the Cradle Crush Giant on the lane that your opponent is trying to dominate, it will probably win you the game, because most offensive creatures has little health point and 2 damage is more than enough to knock them out of the game. So this card is very versatile but also very strategic, because you do not want to kill too many of your creatures, so you need to be careful on the situation of your creatures on the board and the creatures on your opponent's side before playing this card onto a lane. This is overall a good card, I think, and it will see some use in aggro decks as well as some control decks, I expect, but we'll see how things develop about this card, I guess. Let's move on to our next card here, Doppelganger. Now this, my friends, is a new meme card. Goddamn, yeah, it is. That doesn't mean that this is a bad card. In no way this is a bad card. This is a 5 cost Daedra creature with 1/1 stats, but it has the summon ability to transform into a copy of another friendly creature. Now I'm assuming that this means that this card will take the shape of a creature that is already on the board and not creatures that are in your hand, because that would be absolutely fucking ridiculous. But on the other hand, imagine like playing a Paarthurnax on 1 turn and it usually stays alive unless you are playing against a willpower deck or something. So your Paarthurnax survives and you have 2 doppelgangers in your hand for the next turn. when you play 2 doppelgangers and make them into fucking Parthenaxes. You can play 2 Parthenaxes in 1 turn. This might be a fringe scenario, but it is a possibility. You can do some ridiculous things with this card. Imagine playing an Ancano and it's surviving for the other turn. You can just summon 2 other Ancanos potentially on the board. At that point, your opponent is probably dead. This card is going to be a really interesting and silly card to fight against and fight with. It's also going to be quite annoying in some circumstances, but I can't wait to see what this card can do. I am actually planning to make a deck with this and play it on this channel, and if it goes well, who knows? This could be one of my new favorite cards. Let's move on to my favorite card of the expansion though. Cast into Time. This card, man. This card banishes a creature and all creatures from your opponent's deck with the same name. Now, this means you can banish your own creatures as well. So, you are in a mirror match of sorts and you have a creature and you do not want your opponent to have that creature, right? So you can just play this card on your own creature and banish all the copies of that creature from your opponent's deck without even giving them the chance to play that creature. Now that is a rather interesting way to play this card, but if you think in a more straightforward way, this card is a 5-cost card that gets rid of 3 creatures, including 1 on the board. Now this is basically a Javelin, but kind of better, unless you are counting that the Javelin is actually a prophecy, because this card banishes your opponent's card, does not kill it, it will not trigger any last gasp effects. So your opponent plays, let's say, a Baroness, Eclipse Baroness. So you can just banish that Eclipse Baroness along with 2 other Eclipse Baronesses, and your opponent gets to draw only 1 card from 3 Eclipse Baronesses. He loses 3 of them, drawing 1 card, when he could actually draw 6 cards from an Eclipse Baroness. This is just an example. You can banish giant bats from the deck of a scout. You can, I don't know, banish like what's that card again? You know, the 0-cost 1/1 Nord with charge. You can banish that from the deck of a Stealer of Secrets OTK. Imagine that. Banishing a goddamn Nord 1/1 Nord with charge. Basically, you just kill them. This card is pretty amazing. I think you can replace it with the Javelin if you are having space concerns on your deck. But if you are more concerned that the Javelin is actually a prophecy and it can help you during difficult situations, then use the Javelin, man. But I really like this card. This card also, worth mentioning, nullifies the effect of Galin, the Shelterer, because the copy cards are just gonna die as well. So overall, this is my favorite card of this expansion. Actually, it's really cool, and I think it's gonna be a really fun card to play around with. Now let's move on to the agility card, Sly Marshblade. 2-cost, 3/2, nothing special, with the ability of draw a card if you have 7 or more max magicka. Now this card is very situational. and you really don't want to play this in aggressive decks because you are not going for 7 or later turns, right? You want to finish the game as soon as possible, preferably before the turn 7. So after turn 7, this card does not have much value for aggressive decks, because at that point, if you didn't finish the game, you're in trouble. And if you put this card in aggressive decks and not reach to the turn 7, then why are you playing this, right? It's just a 2-cost 3/2, and it's gonna do basically nothing. It's not worth the Magicka cost. It's just a flat card. So the thing is, though, you can play this in scouts, in maybe monks, control monks, possibly in control archers, but there are better cards than this to play around with. And this card can be silenced. It can be neutered so easily. So this card is not very functional, in my opinion, at least for now, but we'll see. Somebody is definitely gonna find a way to use this card and make me look like a fool, but overall I think this card is not very useful. We'll see though, we'll see. If you disagree with me, let me know. So let's move on to the endurance. This is a pretty straightforward, clean, and vanilla card. Bleak cost troll, 4-cost 5/5, with the slayability to +1/+1 to its stats. So this card might have been just a 4 Magicka 5/5 and it would be fine. Slayability is a bonus, but not that big of a bonus because I mean, how many creatures are you gonna slay with this anyway? And slayabilities are usually not performable, let's say. I mean, slay +1/+1 is fine, but you are probably gonna take more damage than 1 here, and this troll is going to die in like 2 or 3 slays maximum. So maybe you're playing a slay scout, then this could be a fine card. Or you are playing a guard deck with Mistveil Wardens and... No, not Mistveil Warden. Whatever that card is, you know, the card that gives guard to more than 5 HP creatures. In that situation, this card is also pretty good. But other than that, there are better cards to play than this. Even though this is a pretty good card stat-wise. 4-cost 5/5. I have no qualms with that. But as I said, it's a vanilla card. It can see play, and it wouldn't be much of a hindrance. And you could choose to play some better 4-costs in your deck, I believe. So this concludes our review for the colored attributes: strength, intelligence, willpower, agility, and endurance, namely. And on the next part, we are going to take a look at cards that are neutral. If you like this video, feel free to leave a like. If you want to see more videos like this, check out my channel, or you can subscribe for future videos, or do both, which would make me a very happy person. Again, thanks for watching. Have a nice one, everybody. See you on the part 2 of this video, and Adigeko out.